It's a scandal that goes all the way to the very top end of town. The so-called Dirty 30, aka the world's top tech companies, and the powerhouse accounting firm that keeps their profits pumping.
PricewaterhouseCoopers.
PwC.
The kind of players who aren't used to playing by the same rules as the rest of us.
Ordinary Australians, nurses, retail workers who pay 20% of their income every year in tax must be scratching their heads and thinking, why is there one rule for me?
At the centre of the scandal, in effect, taxpayer-funded tax avoidance that made both PwC and its clients a mozza.
Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
Putting a very well-educated and canny fox in charge of the hen house.
Somewhere between a shambolic governance arrangement to absolute corruption of the highest order.
The year was 2015, and then Treasurer Joe Hockey was delivering budget bombs. Among them, a crackdown on big companies dodging tax in Australia.
And they sent an email out within minutes of Joe Hockey announcing this tax measure, soliciting, offering that they had a solution, a workaround, and they could assist their clients. And we know from those emails they made $2.5 million from that offer.
That solution came courtesy of inside man and then PwC partner Peter Collins, who was at the time advising Canberra on Hockey's anti-tax avoidance policy. Little did the government know, he was passing that inside information on to PwC, which in turn advised its clients on how to avoid the very measures it had helped put in place.
Peter Collins has used that information very aggressively to make money.
The firm gloating about its efforts in a series of messages.
Famous last words from Mr. Peter John Collins. OK in practice until the ATO gets grumpy and figures out the joke. And from an iPhone in the name of Mr. Peter Collins. BOT has zero idea.
Peter Collins has since been banned from working in the industry. CEO Tom Seymour stepping down, senior executives resigning, and another 9 partners sent on leave as the scandal deepens. PwC has apologised and launched an internal investigation, but claimed in a statement our clients were not involved in any wrongdoing and no confidential information was used to enable clients to pay less tax. So with PwC still holding 54 government contracts worth $223 million taxpayer dollars,
their tentacles spread into boards, into public consultancy.
How deep does the corruption run?
Economist Nicki Hutley worked at one of these top-tier accounting firms, Deloitte, for many years, and she joins us now. Nicki, is this just how business is done in this world of high flyers and dirty 30s?
Absolutely not. There are lots of mechanisms in place to make sure that people do the right thing if for some reason they lose their moral compass. But I can tell you that most of the people that I work with, they have a fairly strong moral compass, and a lot of them are actually working there to make things better, to help with good policy. So this is not characteristic, certainly not what I have seen.
So this guy Collins has been thrown to the wolves, well and truly. Is it just one rotten apple, or is this a much broader problem?
Look, I think it's a very narrow problem because, as I said, there are things in place and it's just not in your interest to go and mess up the whole trust that you've got. You know, it's not just these people, the so-called dirty 30. It's going to taint the whole firm. And who wants that? That's actually bad business apart from anything else.
But what if you thought you could get away with it and you saw a big carrot on offer and you thought, oh, I'm going to have that carrot?
Look, in a lot of these firms, there is huge pressure to bring in the dollars and there's always going to be that temptation. But, you know, most of us do have a relatively strong moral compass, and even if we're tempted, we know that it's just not worth it for the consequences.
So given your experience of these firms, I don't know how to phrase this, what percentage of the partnership, like how many people had to have known about this in order for this to be used, this sort of information to be used in the way that was?
Well, I think that's the thing that really shocks me, is that it wasn't just one person. There were, you know, numerous people, close to 10 at least partners who knew about this. And that's the really disturbing thing. Clearly there was one person who was leading it, but it was known much more broadly. And how broadly we still don't know, but clearly it wasn't just a single rotten apple. There were others who were complicit in this.
In the meantime, Nicki, PwC has all these government contracts. Should they remain?
Look, you can't tar everybody with the same brush. There'd be lots of people, and I know people at PwC who are terrific partners, you know, really people with high integrity, very intelligent, doing great work for government. You can't tar everybody with the same brush. But I do think that obviously government needs to go through a process where it has tighter controls in place when you are working on things that are this sensitive.
PwC was selling the ability to dodge these new tax laws that they had been instrumental in framing or helping frame. Did it work? Are these international companies paying enough tax now?
Well, look, it's hard to be very forensic about how well it worked, but clearly, the tax office has said that they are not paying enough. I think there's been enough evidence to suggest that many of these companies are not paying enough tax. And, I think this is what makes us really angry and should make people angry, is the fact that, Australia's tax problems, we know from the budget that we are running out of money. We've got an ageing population. We need all these things that our budget has to spend money on. And for a firm to be not only, having a conflict of interest, but to be undermining the well-being of the Australian public, that's a really bad thing.
All right, Nicki, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.